In the last chapter, we have studied that how you could control the performance of your employees. There were various tools to control the performance of employees and to keep them motivated. Now, in this chapter, we would be studying that how we can build, lead, and manage the teams. Because in organization, we know that there are groups, like people are working in groups, or and then working in departments, and then there are certain teams in those departments as well. So we can even take a department as a team, and the head of the department as a team leader. In If a group is like an organized group, it could have a if it has a like a leader who is leading the whole group in an organized manner. That group could also be called a team. So we are going to study the concept related to the team building, and whenever there are more than one people, there could be a difference in their opinion, there could be a difference in their preferences, there could be differences in their working style. So there are chances of a conflict as well. So in this chapter, we would study that how the teams work, what could be the various roles in the team. Like in team, all the members should not be coming from the same background. All the members should not have the similar kind of the experience. So the team, when you build a team or when you assemble a team, the objective is to get the people from the diverse background with the diverse experience, so they can contribute towards achieving the goal by providing their expertise. So uh, so, what is a group? A group is any number of people who interact with one another, are psychologically aware of one another, and perceive themselves to be a group. If you would be like putting together a group of a people who even doesn't know each other, that won't be called a group, because in a group it is important that the group members are psychologically aware of each other. They know each other. And in situations where people don't know each other, the organization, they organize the orientation session, which gives them an opportunity to know each other, in detail. So type of groups, there are formal groups, informal groups, reference groups, and then self-directed and autonomous groups. So, what are the formal groups? Formal groups are used by the organization. So, to carry out the task, communicate and solve the problem. These are the groups like which the organization create. So when we look at the hierarchy of an organization or the organogram of the organization, we would see that people have been grouped in different departments. So one could be the finance department, production department. These could also be called a group. Otherwise, in the projects, the organization could create the group from of a people coming from the different background, and they would be assembled to perform a task, and once the task is performed, the group would be adjourned then. Informal groups, these are like membership is voluntary and informal. We know that in this current pandemic, in various hospitals, when they were sending their doctors to the other countries to help them, like China sends their group of doctors here in Pakistan for such kind of activities. Normally, they ask the people who wants to volunteer for that assignment. So those groups are called the informal groups. And then the reference group, these are groups, um, the groups the individual doesn't currently belong to but wants to join. Uh, for example, a particular work group or a committee, like there is a team which is already working, there is a group which is already working, and someone wants to join them. So that's called the reference group. And self-directed and autonomous groups, the ideas of these evolved from the work of Twist and Bamforth and through experiments carried out in 70s by Swedish car manufacturer Volvo. And what is the self-directed and autonomous group is? A self-directed or autonomous group is one which is encouraged to manage its own work and working practices, right? So these are the groups like we have seen in a situation of a calamity. People form the group themselves. Like one would stand up and would ask who want to join me, and then they would be doing it without oversight of any management, or nobody is actually assessing their performance or guiding them. So those are called the self-directed groups. In organization, the example could be like if there is a problem, like people the employees can gather and can then select one of their member as a group leader, and they could resolve that problem. So So informal groups, and there's this, additional information about the informal groups. Managers need to pay attention to formation of and support for formal groups, and also realize that they cannot ignore or surpass informal groups. In relation to informal group, it is important to let employees know that manager understand and accept them while discouraging dysfunctional behavior in such group. You got it? Like if in organization certain employees are getting together themselves without the direction of the management, the manager, at the first instance, the manager would not be discouraging them. But if they are involved in such a activity which is creating a drag in the whole system, so the manager would inform them that they are not allowed to perform or involved in activities which are creating a drag in the whole system. To try to anticipate how decision will influence informal groups, and to keep formal decision from unnecessarily threatening the informal group. Like now, it just means that where the manager is managing the formal groups, it's the responsibility of the manager to uh, be aware of the informal groups, and that should also be managed. So work teams, what is a work team? It is a formal group with a leader and distinctive culture geared toward final result. Work team is assembled to perform a certain task. So though that team would be having a very clear objective. Uh, in order to ensure that a team is truly effective, member must have a reason for working together. And what could be the reason of working together? It could be like a sense of achievement. There could be a reward associated, like upon achieving the certain goal, the team would be rewarded with a bonus, or maybe they get a promotion. So there has to be a common objective of the team members. A multi-skilled teams, individuals can perform any of the group's tasks. The people are like multi-skilled, so they can perform any of the group tasks, and a task can be shared according to availability and inclination. These multi-skill teams are generally formed for the task where you don't need to have a very a high technical kind of expertise, or the assignment is not really technically so complex. So multi-skilled teams could perform better in for those kind of activities, because that makes the team more flexible. If somebody is not available, the other person can take care of the task of that person. So multidisciplinary teams for the complex task. These are normally formed for the complex task. Members have a different specialization, and their skill, knowledge, and experience is pooled or exchanged, right? So multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary teams are suitable for the complex task, whereas the multi-skill teams are more suitable for the comparatively simple tasks. The benefits and the problems with the groups. Advantages or disadvantages of the groups. Advantages are like increased productivity, better overall results, synergy. As we know that 1 plus 1 is 11. Some people say that 1 plus 1 is 11. Like better result than individual results. Synergy means that if I mean 5 individuals are working and they are giving a productivity or let's say 100, if they would be working together in a team, they could produce 110. So that's called the synergy. Improved focus and responsibility, improved problem solving because the people are coming from the different background, they have the different perspective, and they have the capability of looking at the things from the different angle, which makes like a team to resolve the problem more creatively. Greater creativity, increased satisfaction, increased motivation. Like when they are working together, people sometimes work like if one of the team member is performing well, the other would also try to match his performance. So that increase their motivation. Improved information flow. There will be more effective communication through participation in group discussions. So problems with the group, what are the problem? Group conformity. This is the biggest problem with the groups. Group pressure to agree with decision. Like there are 4 people and they are working on a issue or a problem. One of the group member has a different opinion, but 3 have the same opinion. So group conformity is that the one person, no matter that how correct he is or the solution, how correct his the solution he is presenting, but he would be tending to join the other 3. This happens like in elections too, when most of the people would be voting for one party, people feel like being singled out, so they would also be tending to support that party. Groupthink to minimize the conflict and each uh, and and reach consensus without it, critically testing, analyzing, and this groupthink uh, is that if one person say yes, all the other would follow him and say yes. So that they don't analyze the problem in detail. So groupthink, the group would be thinking in a similar way, whereas the one of the objective of assembling a team or a group is to get the different opinion from the different people with the different experience. So if all would be uh, thinking same, so that's not going to serve the purpose for which the team has been built. And Abilene Paradox, mm, this is the there's a story behind it. Abilene is a name of a place. So the story is that a family left their home and they none of them actually wanted to go to that place Abilene, but every one of them stayed silent because they thought that the other one want to go to that place Abilene, and when they reached there, they got to know that none of them actually wanted to come here. It was just that they thought that the others want to go there, so I'm okay with it, right? So Abilene paradox is if I mean the people have the perception that like if we talk about this group, like this study group. Uh, People might be Daud might be thinking that Usman is comfortable with, and I know timing. I mean, and Haris also thinks, whereas every one of you actually wanted it to be conducted at a different time. So that's called the Abilene paradox. This happens a lot in groups. When this happens, actually, most when the group people are close to each other, they are like kind of on friendly terms, so they don't want to show the other people that I'm ruining their plan. So risk shifter